Hi, and welcome to the first edition of Rustic Racing. We are in a cabin, which we'll talk about here shortly, but we're going to review Iowa. So, spoiler alert, we did not finish this race. We'll go over that in more detail, but we will review what we have, and then, kind of go over the short story of what happened. So, this is the only video. I guess I was going to call it the short video, but this is it.
We'll just cover everything.
All right.
It's Ironman Des Moines, 70.3. First time they've done it in Des Moines. Roanoke seemed to be really prepared and ready. Des Moines, where we stayed at an airport. A hotel near the airport, and they were not prepared. I think in Roanoke, probably this was the only thing going on, and they had other stuff going on in Des Moines. So, stuff was full. I don't know. That's the impression that I got. That I don't think they realized how big of an event this would be. Is that the impression you got also?
From the hotel people side, yes. Which is most of our interaction. I guess we had pizza. We'll have to go over that. But it wasn't. Yeah, I don't. The town didn't embrace it like Roanoke, so it wasn't maybe as well publicized. I don't know.
Downtown they had the Ironman Village set up, but they also had a farmers market, which
was
drawing way more people than the Ironman Village. Des Moines is a cool town. It just, I don't know. I just got a different vibe than we're comparing it to Roanoke because they were both inaugural, Ironman 70.3s. Roanoke was the Blue Ridge race, and then this is Des Moines.
So check-in worked just like normal.
Yeah, just like normal. So we got the swag. We got the mask. This was the limit of the Ironman COVID protocol, wouldn't you say? This came with our stuff, but you weren't required to wear it. You weren't required to wear masks. That's been kind of what's going on in the last few races. They give a mask. We got, of course, the exact same dry bag that we've been getting. No name. It's just the Ironman 70.3, that's still disappointing. We know they can put names on it because they did in Chattanooga. They must just have a million of these that they're trying to get rid of. I don't know. But the good news is that for this race, we got to use this bag.
It was important.
It was kind of important to have the dry bag, so that was nice. Also, probably about the only other swag thing that we got that was pretty cool was a certified Piedmontese, which is a beef company, Nebraska beef company. I don't know. They gave out water bottles, and these are actually pretty decent water bottles.
They're very nice for the free.
Usually,
for
the free bottles, it's pretty cheap, and it's just one-time use and throw it away. But we actually. I think we're going to use these.
Yeah.
And they were giving out as many as you wanted. I think we got 4 or 5.
Yeah.
It was...
We asked, and
no
they
problem.
said,
they were like, take whatever you want. So that was pretty cool. So that was the swag stuff that we got at check-in.
So I have been getting a sticker and a water bottle from each Ironman race. And Ironman's generally very good at that. This race, of course, was inaugural and was very popular. They did not have the branded sticker nor the branded water bottles. And when I talked to the guy, we checked in on Saturday morning, I'd say.
Yeah, it was pretty early Saturday morning, I think.
And he was like, "No, man, we were out Friday at lunch."
So either they didn't order enough, or I'm sure they'll probably pop up on Ironman's website. They're not going to
turn money down.
Turn money down, yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I'd say we get on to Ironman for that. Order enough water bottles, guys. They don't have a date. They don't have. They're the logoed stuff, but you can use them again next year. So I get it. You probably don't want to store 8 zillion water bottles from 8 zillion races. But that was upsetting, and I wasn't the only one looking for the water bottle. So at the time that I looked, so that was a little disappointing, and just not prepared there. So.
Let's move on to the swim, I guess.
Maybe.
You want to go over the weather stuff first?
Yeah. So this is the first time we've had inclement weather during this series. It happens. We're racing outdoors. It's part of what we're doing. Ironman has started, when you give them your number, they have an emergency text system now. They also use it for, some
Marketing
junk.
stuff. Yeah.
But it's minimal. It's worth giving them your phone number because you get the text, hey, the night before it was delayed. Hey, we're delayed until 7, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, we knew Friday night that the weather was coming in, and even we were trying to catch up with the race director because we tried to get a picture with every race director before the race, and he was in meetings, and they were contingency meetings, and they were lasting forever. So he was, I guess, I'm assuming that he was there with city officials and other Ironman bigwigs or whatever, and coming up with a plan. And the plan that they came up with was they delayed the start from 6:45 to 7:45 or something like that.
Yeah, it was an hour.
They also delayed transition to where you were going to be able to get in at like 5:30 or something, but then they changed it where you could only get in at 7. So you were only going to have a limited amount of time in transition. But the weather was, it was supposed to be lightning. Rain, I think you race in rain, but it was going to be thunderstorms. So I think, and I think that what we've decided was the max. That was the max they could have delayed it and still done the race.
The full race.
The full race. So if it would have gone off at 7:45, then they would have done the full race, and that would have been, fine. So I guess that was their first contingency the night before. Hey, we're going to send this out to everybody, and we're going to delay it the maximum amount that we can possibly delay it. And then the next morning.
So I missed the text the next morning. If this stuff happens, please pay attention to your phone. So we showed up at 7, and
there were two other people there.
There were a total of 2 people.
Yeah, 2 other athletes. There weren't any volunteers. There weren't any Ironman. And you're looking around and you're like, why are we the only people here?
Yeah.
And one of the guys knew. He was like, oh, they're going to make an announcement at 7:30. So keep that in mind. That if they've already delayed at the max, so the first delay that they had at night, the next, when they said they were going to make the announcement at 7:30, that pretty much means the race is going to be shortened or canceled or something.
Yeah.
Go ahead and have that in mind. We didn't really know what to expect, but I guess that's probably standard protocol. There was a volunteer swim guy that was there, and he said, "Oh, hey, we heard that we're going to do a full swim, but they're going to modify the bike." And we were, for us, it was kind of like, man, because the race has to be 70.3 miles, or it doesn't count for us. We can do the race and we can finish and get the medal and get the hat, but it doesn't count for the world record. Guinness is specific that it has to be the 70.3. So
there are 70.2s out there that we have had to, well, of course we've asked the race director, can you extend it, and for whatever reason they couldn't. That's how specific they are. Minimum of 70.3, minimum of all these distances. So if you change,
can be more.
Yes, it could be, because we're doing some 70.6s, some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, it's just the minimum. For us, it was a bummer. My perspective on this is that Ironman did the right thing. That first, there was no way of knowing what was going to happen, and we're looking at the same radar they are. And so as it turned out, they could have that first delay would have been enough, and we would have been, unpacking in the rain, which we did anyway. But, good on Ironman. They did the right thing. Now, they did everything they could so that race went off. Once again, kudos on that. Shortening it is better than canceling it, always.
So bottom line, they cut the bike in half, and there was some information on Facebook, on the Des Moines Facebook page. People had noticed that they were out on the race, the bike course, shortening and moving markings, taking cones up and stuff. So we kind of had an idea that was going to happen before it was officially announced. But that was a big bummer for us. The thing about it is, though, that everybody there wanted to race, and so this affected us negatively, But I think for everybody else, they were fine
Yeah.
with how it came off. I mean, I don't think they wanted it to be shorter. I don't think anybody wants it to be shorter.
No.
But if your choice is of it being shorter or not doing it at all, then
Yeah.
they want it to be shorter. So
Still had St. George spot, still all of the same stuff. So it's still, it's an Ironman 70.3 race, even though they shortened it. We were probably the only two, selfishly actually affected by this, other than people not being able to claim they did a full 70.3.
yeah. So I mean, that like I said, they shouldn't.
So they
They
did the
shouldn't
right
make
thing.
anything. They shouldn't do anything just because of us, and we know that. I mean, we're 2 people out of the 2,500 or whatever that were there. So
This was a big race.
they did the right thing. I mean, that's not we don't have any hard feelings, but it still was very disappointing for us because it kind of ended our streak of
Yeah.
what was it, 6 in a row, 6
6 in a
weekends in a
row.
row, and I mean, there's nothing you can do about that.
So
I
we
mean,
ended on 5. This was going to be the 6th.
okay, gotcha.
So that was a bummer too. And we looked at what the decision, all of the decisions that we made. We still agree with them. It just didn't turn out to our favor, but that's okay. We'll race again.
So let's talk about. So all we did was the swim. We
Yeah.
made the decision that that the roads are wet. You got 2,500 people out there that probably don't ride on wet roads very much. Things that would keep us from finishing a race are mechanical failure, weather, cramping up, or something like that. Something that would keep us from doing the record. Well, that's an injury, and so we were like, well, this race isn't going to count. No sense in trying to just do the race just to do it because we're risking injury. I mean, maybe if the roads had been dry and we would have done it. I don't know, but we made the decision that we weren't going to race on the bike just because we'd be risking injury. So we went ahead and did the swim because the swim was not wetsuit legal. No. So it gave us an opportunity to swim out there with a whole bunch of other people and get that open water swimming. This is the first non-wetsuit legal race that we've been in since 2019, right? I mean, it's been a long time. So that was a way we did the swim, and then we jumped out of the race after that. That was so we can't talk about the swim itself.
Yeah. So standard protocol with the self seating on the swim, which is great. This swim was a 1-loop course.
Clockwise.
So, you swam out in this lake around an island. I got swam over a lot.
Was there an island out there?
I guess it's a peninsula, but yeah, there was a piece of land in the middle.
Yeah, so you go out, you go over, and then you come back. And when you come back, it's a long straightaway.
Yeah.
I mean, a really long straightaway. And there's a pedestrian bridge that kind of goes parallel to this long straightaway. And I thought that it was going to be a great place for people to watch. But by the time I got out in the water and I was looking at it, it was a pretty good ways away. But, I mean, it's something. For people to get out there
Better
and see.
than usual.
Yeah.
So, all in all, not a bad swim. I got swam over a lot. I don't... we started in the right spot. I don't know what happened. Excuse me. I was swimming over people in the beginning and then getting swam over at the end. So either good people started late or I must
Sam
slow
didn't
down.
swim over me, so that was an improvement. Or at least I can't. I don't know that he's.
Let's use words like allegedly.
Okay,
I don't think we've known.
allegedly, Sam didn't swim over me.
We still haven't proven that the swim over was not just your own arm.
Yeah. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind, and you should be aware of this. The swim exit to transition is forever. 0.44 miles.
Yeah.
You heard that correctly. You're running in your bare feet for 0.44 miles to get from the swim exit to transition. That didn't even get me to the bike. It was just 0.44 from the exit to the entrance of transition. I might be a little bit in there because I think I stopped my watch, maybe 50 yards, 25 yards inside transition. But it's forever. I've never had a swim to transition that far.
Oh, it's asphalt and then some concrete there at the end.
Yeah, it didn't hurt my feet. It didn't hurt my feet.
It didn't. And it didn't. I mean, it's a little bit of undulation away from the lake, but I wouldn't call it hills.
There was an incline.
It was just a little ways. So
yeah, it was just
forever
away. Yeah. mean, they couldn't have done it any different. I mean,
No.
that's how
No,
they're going,
that's a big-
and that's how that's going to be from now on. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Transitions in a field with grass. So it had rained, so it was muddy. The bike out was muddy. I mean, this is probably the first race where you really benefited from having your shoes attached to your bike and then just hopping on and putting, because otherwise, I mean, my shoes, I ran out with my bike and, I got bike shoes on and they just got all kinds of mud, just crap,
Yeah.
in there, inside the little, the cleats or whatever.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind if it's raining. I hope. I mean, Iowa had been in a drought for like a month before this race. So it just picked to rain on this day. But that's
It's raining all over Florida too, same day.
that's my limit of knowledge on the.
Yeah, everything else after this is speculation. We talked to people about the road, and they said, they're not great in spaces, but there are, once you got out to the double turnaround, that road was amazing. The locals were excited, and then the run was 2-loop course into downtown.
Yeah.
So once again, I'm sorry we're worthless. So the one piece of information we can actually disclose: do not set up a 4:30 flight out of Des Moines.
Yeah.
It's the race is very close to the airport, and so we
really close there.
We thought we could do it, and as it turns out, had the race started where it was originally scheduled, yes, you could have made it. But you need to go ahead and plan for delays or whatever. Races just never go out on time, and that wasn't. We were going to have to start at the front of the race and get swam over so that all of our time worked out. So that was the lesson. 4:30 is too early to fly out of Des Moines, Iowa after the race.
I mean, from our perspective, that was the only flight that day out, or that was the last flight out that day. Yeah. So we could have flown out the next morning at 6 a.m. or something like that. That probably would have been the right thing to do. But I forgot to say too, we did get the same technical T-shirt, the Ironman Des Moines 70.3 or whatever. So we did get that at check-in too. So you got your T-shirt, your wet bag, your mask, and the water bottles.
So I don't feel like we could rate this race.
You can't. Yeah, we're not going to give any ratings.
Give a rating.
Yeah.
All in all, Des Moines, Iowa we had a great time. Visit Des Moines. It's not a big city.
Not as big a city as you would think. I mean, it's a decent sized city.
It's a city,
but it's
So
I mean, we walked it a lot.
Yeah, it was not. It was not like a big city. There wasn't just the pressure of a big city. But fascinatingly enough, we found Fong's Pizza. Was that what it was called?
Fong Pizza.
They have a Chinese pizza fusion restaurant where we had the General Tso's pizza. So. It's a culinary experience. They're out there experimenting. So, very popular pizza place. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But, it's Chinese food on top of your pizza. I mean, that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd never had that before.
So,
in Des Moines, Iowa, they have that.
So stay tuned. Next time we'll talk about White Mountain.
All right. Sounds good.